Good morning, good day, good evening, whatever your time zone may be, doesn't matter. You are here for VRL and VRL only. And today we are here in Belgium on one of the most iconic circuits of all time in Spa-Francorchamps. We're coming here for the 8th round of the season. It could be a very interesting one. Still quite a few points separating the number 2 and the number 1 in the championship, Tim and Phil. We also have a return of APG Marco Poppa, sorry, I should say, correct me there. We have Phil, of course, back in Mercedes, Forbes in McLaren, and then we have the usual Livid Racing guys. And what do you also for the good guy 075 also making his debut for Toro Rosso. And we have our first retirement of the session is SR Compassion, the man who hasn't had a great streak of races, and it might be due to his qualifying ban that he decided to retire early on. Yes, I'm pretty sure of that. Of course, having an incident with this man in the last race in Germany, Livid Racing Kuhn. Ryan together with one of the Redners coming out on track. I think that might be Tim, and he goes out on track. If you have any questions regarding VRL or the stream, or any questions to me, be sure to let them know. And I've heard we have no rain installed for this race, not in the race and not in qualifying, so it'll be a very dry race. I'll just quickly get up the lap data and the track map, full track map. And Phil already invalidated his lap there, as you can see. And meanwhile, my battery is low of my controller. Just plug that in. What do we have more? Who's more on a lap? The debutant. He's doing pretty okay so far. He's not invalidated his lap, unlike Phil. Livid Racing Sam, of course, a bit of a what could have been season for him so far. Can he turn the table at this round? I think he's gonna have to do so if he wants to have still a realistic shot at the championship. It would already be a pretty fast shot if you would still aim for the championship, but if he still wants to go out there and win the championship, he has to, you know, win this race. And like many others, Phil would have more Livid Racing Luke, who also has to win if he wants to keep a little shot at the championship. Meanwhile, we have a yellow flag in sector, what's that, sector 3 there. I'm trying to be clean up, but I did see some debris, and the yellow flag might have been for VZR Barry, and I think, who is that for? I can't really see. We have a Mercedes off track, that Phil, going out of the way for some drivers who are on some quick laps. But nothing else too much crazy going on right now. Meanwhile, we have Felix on pole with a 133.1, and Thomas battled that with a 42.5. Sorry. We have Felix in Livid Racing, Sam in P2, Felix in P3, Livid Racing Luke in P4, Forbes in P5, Livid Racing Sam in P6, Kuhn in P7, the good guy on his debut in P8, FIFA with a 144.1 in P8, just behind freshly recruited Toro Rosso driver. Of course, we have a new driver for Williams as well, replacing Vrl. Meanwhile, Moraine, just like his teammate, hasn't invalidated his lap, and he won't be able to finish it. Oh, we have a Rebel Burbster, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. He has gone off, and he's damaged his front wing for a good measure as well. He has to be careful he doesn't smash into anybody. He's the wrong way around, but he has done a good job of not being in the way of anyone here, as the McLaren can come around to possibly get past him and finish his lap. No, he's on an in lap or an out lap as well. So he'll have to go back to the pits, that's for sure, to repair the damage he has. Yeah, another yellow flag here. It's probably for some drive slowing down. It's very busy. It's a very busy pit lane. Jesus, look at all those cars. It's very busy. It was a good shot we had, that's for sure. Hi Stein, I'm very good, thanks for asking. How are you doing? High hopes, I guess, coming into this race. Only a few points behind from Steve in the championship with our FIFA. With Jamil promoted to main driver as he got the seat of his teammate Marcos, who decided to give it up on him. So he'll be driving for Alpha for a large portion of the season. So he has to warm up his tyres there. Vapron is doing a very good job so far. He's out on his first lap of the session with 10 minutes remaining. We have Britain race winner Arpo Gamer in the chat as well. Welcome. Sadly can't be here, but I'm sure we'll have a good amount of action. Well, I'm gonna have a little question for you. Who won the last race here in Vrl Belgium on track, and who eventually won it on penalties? Can you remember the season 3 winner on track and eventually in the standings? Oh, he loses the car and he goes off, and it's not a very good lap for Vapron as he loses his front wing and he smashes into the Mercedes as well. That's the Mercedes of Phil Smith, and he's been punished with a 5-place grid penalty. That's not a good start for the new Williams driver, and he will have to get back to the pits to repair his front wing, just like the driver he wasn't able to avoid in the name of Phil, who's got damage. I'm not sure if he was on a lap. He was on an out lap, lucky enough for him. There will be enough time to get back into the pits, but the stewards might need to have a good might need to have a good look at that incident there, as he was on track. He lost it coming out of the corner, and it was quite a huge hit, and he was very, very, very lucky he didn't lose his wing or his wheel there, and he will be able to continue. No front wing though, but the Williams boys will get it fixed in no time, I'm sure. Now another question for you. Let's see if you can remember this. This one's a little bit more difficult. Quite a few good answers here, I see. Let's see. Let me think of a good question. Oh, about last race. Oh yeah, who is the first retirement of the last year's race? Let's see if you can remember that. Meanwhile, Marine on his outlap. And for neutral doesn't agree with that. The steward should have a look at the incident. Yeah, of course, F1 neutral here. Sadly, he won't be able to continue partnering us. We are very thankful for him for everything he's done here, and he gets a good answer as well with Matthias McLaren. I believe that was the first retirement. No, I'm having some doubts. Wait, I'll just quickly check, as we're in a qualifying session as well. I'm just gonna, let's see what you guys think. Alright, another lap, let's go on board with him quickly. Yeah, Matthias was the first one to retire last time. Sorry, I just had to make sure. I was like pretty certain of it, but I just had to make sure. Matthias was the first retirement of that race. And Thomas goes fastest again with a 142. Oh, sorry, I thought he jumped up the grid there. Steve has gone up to P2, and Sam is doing the bits again, just like last season in P3 there. Of course, he's come a long way since then. He was battling with Matthias for the last place on the grid, and now he's up here fighting in P3. Very good job by him. Made a lot of progression there. We have Tim on a slow lap as well, and we have Felix moving up the grid to... Who moved up the grid there? I have no clue who that was. We did have a little bit of a change there. The Rebel driver goes on for another lap on the soft tires. Marine goes P2, very good lap by him, and he will be in the front row just like last season. I believe he was able to get a P2 as well, so maybe more of the same fortune for him. He's 4 tenths off of the pole time though, and the man who finished P1 here on track last season is only found himself down in P7. Of course, who do you think will be the top 3 of the race today? Be sure to let me know your predictions for the top 3. Marine, Thomas, Steve. Oh, he has a lot of confidence on that mode in his Mercedes driver. Of course, why wouldn't he? Marine, I see another Marine for the win here. Felix in P2 and Thomas in P3. So some very interesting predictions there. Now let me ask you another question. Who do you think will get the fastest lap of the race? My bet would be on Thomas, as his raw pace just really is that great. I would put my money on him for the fastest lap of the race. Who is your money on for the fastest lap of the race? Let's do a bit of a betting competition there. And we have a yellow flag in sector 3. It's for one of the McLaren cars. It must have been for letting someone through there. I see fastest lap for Thomas, Steve, and Luke. So 3 different predictions there from the 2 team bosses and the ex-team boss and our ex-partner, sadly. Marine still holds that front row lockout with Thomas, and Steve is just behind those 2 with 2 tenths, and then it's very close from Stam to Steve. Question: what was the first race of Felix in VRL? Can you, let's see, this is a very difficult one, I reckon, but you might be able to guess it. And we have Forbes just outside the top 10 on the outlap as well. Everyone's readying up for to go one more time. We have Marco in P15 who decided to go to the reserve driver role there as he wasn't able to make most of the times. Vrl France, no, you're incorrect there. His first race was indeed in Russia, who was able to get up to the podium, I believe, after he got hit from behind by a Vrl F1. He had to make a comeback race and did a very good job at it. Of course, Vrl France was his first race after 4 races. Oh, Phil was out from the session there. Now is that a decision to not go further? It's only P8 for him though. He won't be able to get much out of that. And it's just inside the top 10, but with another few guys still on the lap like Tim, it could be further down the grid there. Very nice helmet by Tim. I think he's also got a little bit of green. Has he got a little bit of green in there as well? I can't really see too much. Well, it's a nice looking helmet. I really like the gold on the top of his helmet there. No, it's white instead of green. Pit stop F1 is rooting for a Renault. So he's rooting for Felix and Tim. Tim is doing a very good job. He's improved on his time just so far. We're interested to see where this lap puts him. He's only P9 at the moment. It's not really the position you want to be in if you're fighting for the championship. Of course, Steve is still very much running away with it. Ooh, a little bit of a slippery exit there on the a little bit of a slippery mode on exit there. Ooh, and he touched the barrier. Did that impact his front wing there? I don't think so. He got off very lucky there. Zef nearly crashed at the same barrier in the race. And Dafifa goes P7. Can't do anything about it and move himself up the grid. Better than a P10. He wants better than a P10. And he goes P4. A very good drive. And DGG Vepron goes P2 ahead of VR veteran Ryan Oliver, who's still on a lap. He's just down on his time, but he could still get something out of this if he's just quick enough in the last 2 sectors. He's on 142.8 so far. We have Thomas, who looks untouchable, with a 142.4. Ryan might just about improve on his time. Can he get livered racing some? I think that's the realistic target there. Of course, he was a little down on his time in coming into sector 2. A big question mark where he can get a livered racing Sam for P4 and have a good starting position for him in the race. And he does improve on his time, but it's not enough to move up a position on the grid. If he had improved by 4,000 of a second, he would have been P4, but he only did half of that, so it's only P4 or P5 for him. P5 for Marine. I'll run you quickly, run you through the good German. The German RT Thomas is on pole position there. Vapron is on P2 on the grid there. Felix P3, Livered Racing Sam P4, Marine P5, Batster P6, VRT Wentic in P7 ahead of championship rival Steve. Livered Racing Sam P9, Dalfifa P10, Livered Racing Luke P11, last time pole sitter. P12 Philip Smith and P13 Forbes. Then we have the good guy in P14, Livered Racing Kuhn, all the way down in P15. Mark Garner's return P16, SR Compassion P17, and then we have VZR Barry in P18. We make ourselves ready for the formation lap. Always that very interesting moment before the race gets underway there. So TTG Vapron is starting in P6 after his grip place penalty for crashing with with Phil, as he was still on track. I'm not really too sure if he could have done anything about it, but the fact is he is all the way down in P6, and he will be looking to get up to his original P2. Thomas with a very quick lap, 4/10, or what was it, 4/10, 3/10 ahead of the nearest car, and we have all the cars teleporting on track. Sadly, I don't know either if there will be some rain. Of course, I can't see that. Last time race winner as well. Of course, he could have won in Silverstone, but he threw it away on the safety car conditions as he crashed out. Of course, some controversial controversy with the safety car in Germany as well. There was some question maybe the safety car should have been scrapped, but it eventually was decided upon not to do that. Felix in P2, Livered Racing Sam in P3, then Ryan in P4, and then Bradster in P5, and then Tim Wentic in P6. Those are the drivers who get 1 free position off the grid penalty of TTG Vapron. He just found himself in P2 on the formation lap, but he will of course start from P7 on the grid, then Steve in P8 as well, so could be a difficult race for him as he's not too far up on the grid at this point. No, yeah, I did say there won't be rain. That's something I quickly saw on the chat of on the VRL chat. Mariah said there won't be rain, so I'm anticipating no rain, but you never know. I'm not sure if he was talking about the race or qualifying, but I'm putting my money on no rain. Even though it's a little bit clouded, things still look pretty sunny. Livered Racing Kuhn and Phil have the work cut out for them, and so has Marco, who's made his return. Of course, it's not Marco aka Papa anymore, it's APG Marco Papa at this point. Steve Verlooy, reserve driver, is ridding his team on. Who sees Felix start from P2 and Tim from P6. Very nice positions for those drivers, and they should be able to get something out of that. Let them know. Second Passion with his qualifying ban all the way down on the grid as well, and so is Jamil in P19. Not a very good way to impress the bosses after you just been promoted to main driver. He lines up to the grid place. We have Thomas from P1, miles ahead of everyone in the qualifying session. Will he be able to do something here in VRL PS4 Belgium Grand Prix? And the lights go out and away we go, and it seems that Thomas has a brilliant start and he will be able to keep his P1 into turn 1 there. Livered Racing Sam looks to attack Felix there. He can't get anything from that. He has to be careful not to get overtaken by Marine on the outside. And coming up to the roads, Marine is also under pressure from Bradster. And Thomas keeps his lead, and there's already a yellow flag there after one lap of racing, and we have the good guy with no front wing, and Marco losing bits of his front wing there. He's got to be careful he doesn't ruin his race by going too quick on the safety car conditions. And it's the third safety car of the day very early on after Marco and the good guy have come together, and they'll have to make an early pit stop. Not optimal for them, and we also have Jamil with no front wing, and we also have Phil with no front wing. So what the hell happened there then? There must have been an enormous start crash. Jamil was all the way down in P19, and so was Marco very down the grid. Phil started P12, so what the hell happened there then? Someone must have moved quite a few places up, or Phil must have moved quite a few positions down. Not an optimal start from them. And Thomas still leads from Felix, and Felix still leads from Sam. And Sam still leads from Marine, and Marine still leads from Bradster, and Bradster still leads from Tim. And then Tim still leads from TG Vapron, and then we do have a position chase in the name of Forbas, who's able to get past Livered Racing Sam. So safety car conditions. I don't think there will be anyone making a pit stop outside of the guys who have no front wing at this point. Of course, Phil starting on the hard tyres there. I'll just, sorry, I didn't show that on the formation. I will be able to show it on the start though. Of course, quite a few drivers coming in actually, opting to get rid of that soft tyres. Maybe a logical choice considering they don't go too long anyway. But it will be a very busy pit lane for sure. We see Marine going there for the hard tyres. We see teammate Felix going for the hard tyres as well. Quite a few drivers going for the hard tyres. And it's a busy pit lane, and almost half the field has decided to go on to hard tyres except Thomas and Livid Racing Sam. So hasn't Bresta, and Vapor has decided to stay out as well. Forbes on the mediums has decided to stay out as well. So has Sam, Steve, and Livid Racing Luke and Kuhn have also decided to stay out, as are Compassion on the softs as well. And further, everyone has made a pit stop. That could be quite interesting to see what the no front wing runners have put on. They have decided to go onto the mediums. I'm not sure if they will be able to make it to the end of the race on that set of tyres. Still 20 laps to go, of course, with a very long circuit. Good guy and Mark have gone for the softs there, so interesting tactic by them. And the safety car leads Thomas, who's still in P1 for now, but he hasn't made a pit stop yet. So it will be very interesting to see the guys who made a pit stop, seeing them fight their way through traffic. That could be very interesting indeed. Now, who do you think made the right call? Can you show the stops? Yeah, of course I can show the stops. Should be able to, yeah. Here, there we go. Everyone from P11 onwards has made a pit stop, excluding Phil and the good guy who had to make a pit stop against their front wing, and so has Jamil had to make a pit stop for his front wing as well. But from P15 onwards, it's all strategy by them, and they have to fight their way through traffic as quickly as possible. So who do you think made the right call? Do you think it would have been better to stay out, or do you think the guys like Felix have decided to make the right call? Around the long circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, you still hold 20 laps of racing, well 19 if the safety car stays out. Safety car goes for lap 2. I wonder what's going on in the head of these guys right now. And I'm not sure if it was the best decision to stay out, to be honest. Oh, Vapron on the safety car condition has smashed into the back of Bedster there. I'm not sure what happened there, but he has no front wing, and I have to go back there. Yes, of course, he's very frustrated with him, and he's decided to end his own race up to him. And it's not a very gentleman-like manner to go about your business there, Vapron. Of course, you can disagree with a maneuver of the guy in front of you, but it's not how we handle things around here. He will be severely punished for that. We don't play on Stewart in this league. We still have another lap of virtual safety car racing. I'm pretty sure the safety car will come in this lap. But despite the crash of Vapron, the safety car will most likely come in this lap. And we have the FIFA slowing down. VCR barrier has got in front of him, but he can only go overtake, so I'll just let him by again. Bit of a weird maneuver by FIFA there to slow down out of nowhere. Baxter, 3/10. Separating him, and yes, as I predicted, safety car in this lap. We can finally go racing. Thomas leads the pack. He leads the pack from Sam to Jamil. He can decide when he wants to go racing again. Of course, now overtaking until the green flags are shown. Everyone is anticipating when he wants to go, and he goes now. Just coming out the corner where Max Verstappen wants to overtake Felipe Nasser around the outside. And he still holds on to his P1, and we have VCR Barry already making quick moves on Darth FIFA, and he immediately goes past, and Darth FIFA finds himself all the way down in P14. So no, some more yellow flags there. Is everything okay? Everything seems to be okay. And Thomas still leads from Sam, who still leads from Baxter. And VCR Barry has decided to move up on the grid by overtaking Ryan Olibol. His next target should be Felix. He's on the mediums of Scott. Ryan is on the hards, and Tim looks to take the profit after overtaking move by VCR Barry, going around the outside into the next corner. Can he hang his nose in there? I think he might just do so, and that's a very nice overtaking maneuver from Tim on Marine. And Ryan collects a bit of a grid as grind? No, never mind. So top three stay unchanged. It will be very interesting to see when they will be able to come in and get their pit stop sorted out. Sam still in P5. 4 best ahead of him. Championship leader Steve hasn't also made a pit stop yet, so he'll be wanting to make as much time as possible as he nearly loses the car. Coming out of the place where Tim had contact with the barrier as well in qualifying, and he's made an impressive save, and he goes on his merry way, but he has to be careful he doesn't have another moment like that, or it could be fatal. And with the likes of Tim and Marine up looking for some good points, that could be a massive, devastating blow to his championship. Luke seems to get racy and tries to get past him. Phil moving his way up the grid on the FIFA. A little bit of a rivalry forming between these two guys. And Duffy Football were looking to please the home fans and get past again. Meanwhile, Sam moves up the grid again, up to P4. Duffy can't make it running outside, can he? No, he cannot, and he has to be careful he doesn't get overtaken by the good guy. Thomas, meanwhile, pulls a reasonable lead from Sam, with a second separating him and Sam. And we have the other Sam in P4, and Steve goes off track there. Oh no, sorry, that was Bradster, who's lost a reasonable amount of time to Sam there. He's lucky he doesn't go over that little bump off track there, and that can easily send you into the wall. And he nearly goes off track again, and we have a yellow flag. Who is that? Who is that for? Well, that's Felix. I think it might have been Felix. We did have a yellow flag. I'm not sure who it was for. No one seems to have damage. But VCR Barry has moved up to P9 with Kun behind him in P10. Oh no! He tries to do Max Verstappen, but it didn't end well for him. He's into the wall, and no points will be scored. He tried to do the same thing Max Verstappen once did on Felipe Nasser, but it has failed for him, and it more ended up like a crash in GP2. And this will come out nicely for the people who have not made any pit stops. Stevens immediately goes onto the pits, so does SR Compassion. But most soft runners stay out for a little bit longer. And he goes on to the hard tires as well. Very logical choice by SR Compassion. It's come out very nicely for him. Kane opted to go for a move on VCR Berry around the outside of Blungemore, but it hasn't ended well for him, and the safety car has come out, and it's just on the apex of a Rouge that's ready on. Most of the laps have been safety cars. Most of the racing has been safety car racing, really. If Racing Sem has moved up a place as well, up to P3. I was thinking Badster. Very weirdly enough, most of the guys have decided to stay out as well. Of course, some might have missed the pit lane. I hope this safety car doesn't go on for too long. So this is the second safety car of the race, after only 6 laps of racing. Thomas still leads from Sam, and he will have to do another restart from P1. And Thomas comes in, and it's not gonna make him up the same amount of time it would with Steve and the other guys who have made pit stop under safety car conditions. It's a busy pit lane, it's a very busy pit lane once again. Look at all those cars. Luckily for Sam, he doesn't get held up. Sam finds himself behind Jamil at this point, who started P19, who's moved up to P11. Where does Thomas find himself? He found himself in P9, behind Marine, behind Tim, and behind Felix. And obviously, he had to make that pit stop anyway, probably. But it's really, he should have made that pit stop on the first safety car. He wasn't able to go back into the pits. He was unable to go into the pits on the second safety car. He had to do a lap later, which cost him some time. Meanwhile, Phil finds himself behind. Oh Jesus, my game lagged there. I just thought Phil put it in the wall. Ha! Phil finds himself behind his teammate Ryan Oliwell. Driver of the mixest driver of the day, safety car. Yeah, I mean, we've had more safety car running than we have had racing. Stops, well, everyone has made a stop. Marco even made 3 stops. Everyone has made a stop except Forbes and Luke. Who were obviously on the medium, so it wasn't really worth staying out or going into the pit for the hards. As the tires will have some more life in them. So master strategy, but people decided to come in on the first safety car, and we get ready to go racing again. It's Forbes leading Luke, and he goes. Does he go? Did he go? And now he goes, coming out of the corner there, very cheeky, and Luke immediately lost some time to him, and he has to be careful he doesn't get overtaken by VCR Barry, who finds himself in P3. He goes for the switch back up to Arouge. Who's going to yield here? Who's going to yield? Who's going to yield? I think none of them might do. It might end up in a big crash. Who's going to yield? Who's going to yield? The side by side for Arouge, and Luke eventually has to yield. They come under attack from the Renault driver of Felix. VCR Berry goes onto the grass as well. He's overtaken by Felix, and Felix might take both of them at this point. Is he able to do so? No, he just about can't, but he will be able to put a bit of a switchback move on Luke. But he's unable to do so. Meanwhile, we have Barry moving down the grid as well. I think he might have a little bit of a spinner there. Yes, he has, and he finds himself from P3 all the way down to P17, last running. And Steve is looking to make some quick moves on his teammate there. Oh, great racing between the Red Bull drivers. A little bit of side pod touching there, but nothing too major. Jamil finds himself in P10 after starting P19. Marine also doing a very good job in P8. Phil has moved up quite a few places, of course, because of the safety car, and I think he might have front wing damage. I'm not sure. I think he has front wing damage. I can't really see. Yes, he has. He's lost his M plate, and for the second time this race, Phil found himself with front wing damage, and he'll have to make another pit stop for sure. The good guy looks to take profit of the damage Phil has. As they're coming to Blanchimont, Phil's losing massive amount of grips there. And can he go for a move already into the chicane? I don't think he can. He might be able to go for a switchback. No, Phil doesn't pull into the pit, weirdly enough. I think he's losing on loads of times with that front wing damage. Meanwhile, we see a Red Bull going off track. That's Steve, still trying to find a way past his teammate. He's under threat from the both Italian cars there, the Toro Rosso and the Ferrari, who are now pulling out as well, coming up to Rouge as well. So, oh, Thomas with front wing damage, and he's not going to be happy as he went from leading to finding himself all the way down to P17. And Bradster goes running outside of the mill, question mark, yes, answer is yes. He finds a way past the Brazilian driver in Alfa Romeo, who still just about finds himself outside of the points. And Bradster goes up to P11, just one position short of points. Tim still behind his teammate. Now, when will these guys come in? Of course, their pit stop will set them back quite a lot, considering most people that came in on a virtual safety safety car conditions. We have Phil still in front wing damage, falling further and further behind, and looking like prey to the good guy. He now tries to go for a move running outside into the chicane. Phil blocks it again, just like last time, and he still stays ahead, but he has to be careful he doesn't become vulnerable into turn one. The good guy goes for the move. He doesn't fully launch it. He goes for exit as well. There might be a side by side moment up to Reese. No, I don't think there is. This is holding. Phil's holding that up massively. And Phil saying, no, I'm not letting you go, even though I have front wing damage, and rightly so. But how long can he keep this up? Loss of downforce will massively slow him down, of course, and the good guy goes round the outside just after the main straight, and Darth FIFA looks to do the same, but the good guy is the only one that gets past, and he has to be careful Darth FIFA doesn't get overtaken by his teammate Marine. Phil holds his P6, and he will be happy with that, even though he's just lost a position. Could have been losing way more than he already lost. And we have Barry once again with front wing damage there, I think. Thomas is 18 seconds behind the nearest car as well, so things are not looking up for him. So it's just a bit of a tactic by Phil to back this pack up into his teammate Marine, who doesn't have front wing damage, and appears to, even though he won last time, he seems to be struggling a little bit for pace compared to Felix and Tim. as he has moved down quite a few places. Moran round the outside, and now that makes the inside for the chicane. He can't get the deed done, but he might be able to do so with DRS into turn 1. He has to be careful he doesn't get overtaken by Jamil, who also puts his nose in there. And is now side by side with him. And he might stay so. Coming up to Rouge. Oh no, Sam, sorry. There he goes, side by side for Rouge. Oh, he's lost it, and he's collected. Oh my goodness me. Sam's collected by Steve, and both gentlemen are out of the race. This is a massive collision and a massive blow to Steve, his championship. Sam and Steve out of the race. And now that's a headline for VRL News. Jesus Christ, man, what a mega crash! Did Mariah come out out of that unscathed? I think he might have done so. What a mega crash caused by Sam, who decided to go up the inside of Mariah into Rouge, and he's collected Steve, who tried to avoid the incident happening between Mariah and Sam, and of course. A very tragic incident happened in real life, but it really was a bit like the real life race, and it's raining as well, so it might be interesting as well. Some people might be able to go onto intermediate tires. What a crazy race, really. What a magnificent race as well. I think this might be good for the medium runners who might be able to make a pit stop for intermediates. It is raining, ladies and gentlemen. It's raining 11 laps into this race, and it's raining hard. Of course, Spa's a very big circuit, so some parts it might be inter time, some parts it might be dry time. Someone who's risking it is Felix, who tries to is going on to the intermediate tires there. I think he might just do so. He goes onto the inters, and so does Phil, who has to change his front wing. Does he go on to? No, he doesn't go on to inters. He doesn't go on to inters. He goes on to the mediums. Now that's questionable, considering you're already far behind. And what the hell did you have to lose? I mean, maybe there's a little of a glitch, but I'm pretty sure Cody's fixed that. And he's on the medium tires, and I'm telling you right here, this is a wrong choice. It's gonna rain harder and harder, and inters will be the tires to go on with in a matter of a lap. I think Felix is the only one on the intermediate. Yes, he is. So he's being bold here, but I think it might have been a situation of bold favors what was it again? Like fortune favors the bold, and really I think there might be a situation here. Phil hasn't decided to go on to intermediate. And massive scenes here after Steve and Sam crash with each other in Radion. Coming up to Sam decided to go for a move on a Mercedes driver Marine. He found himself spinning, going into the first barrier, and then coming out in the runoff area, and then eventually Steve, who tried to avoid the accident, collected Sam, and his race was over, and a massive champion and a massive blow to his championship. I think Felix might have made a fantastic goal, fantastic strategy call by going on to the intermediate tires. And lap 12 out of 22, 10 remain, and it's raining. It's raining harder and harder. Is anyone else going for a bold move by going into the pits for some intermediate tires? No, that doesn't look like it. This is very mighty. What does he has to lose? He's 24 seconds behind the nearest car. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on the times of Felix, as he's the only one on intermediate tires right now, and the track is very much getting wetter and definitely not drier. Alpha Game and Half Boy, nobody's pitting. I don't know either. It looks to be intermediate sign. Look at that. You can even hear the raindrops. Come on, surely guys, it must be time for intermediates. Felix might have just made the strategy call of his life here by going onto the inters early on the safety car conditions. I mean, he's made two very bold but very good strategy calls. We hear from Stein Costa, who's the team boss of Jamil, and Jamil has obviously the information from his engineer, and he says 10 more minutes up to intermediates, but the track is looking very wet to me. Be such a... Excuse me. Luckily it's safety car conditions. No, it seems not that. We are back. Just a little place. Yeah. If you say somebody, yeah, a lot of drivers are coming in for intermediate tires. We just right back at the right moment there. We have a front wing change from Bradster as well, and he is on inters as well. So is Luke. My God, what is this? Oh, now we're back as well. Yeah, a lot of drivers onto the intermediate tires. We now have Felix into P2. And it's all kicking off at this point. And it's looking like the dry runners have no grip anymore. And look at how slow Forbas is going, of course, for the dry runners. And so is Jamil, who's struggling so much with these tires. You have to be careful he doesn't spin. Of course, things will be harder to handle for controller drivers. VCR Barry is on the mediums as well, so he does find a little bit more grip than Jamil. Phil is on the intermediate, in mediums as well. Still quite a few drivers on the normal regular tires. Jamil is getting absolutely mucked up here by Tim and Luke, and that's not in the normal way. He tries to hang his nose in there, or couldn't he stop the car? Anyway, he's round, and it's just another blow to his race, as things have not gone well for him thus far. Sam's also on the mediums, also struggling for grip. Everyone not on the intermediate tires is struggling for grip, and everyone, it's a bit of a dangerous situation at this point. And it's Thomas and Barry who have collided, just coming up to Blanchemont, yeah. And it's an immediate retirement from Thomas. And made for a very awkward situation. That's what I meant, but a very dangerous situation. No grip for the dry runners, and loads of grip for the intermediate runners. Obviously everyone has to come in at this point. Mercedes boys come in as well. And look who can make up so much ground in the championship. It's gotta be Tim. And can Luke get something back on Felix? He's 8. I generally believe there has been more safety car running than there has been racing. But it really is exciting. How is Jamil still on this set of tires? Come on. Definitely equals things out there. Felix with a fantastic strategy call, but really his big lead has been undone by another safety car. Can Luke get his revenge of last season? Last season he won here on track, but he was too optimistic penalty-wise, and penalties don't seem to be an issue at this point. Not for Luke and not for Felix. Not too many penalties, I believe. No, it doesn't seem like it. No, even though there is 2 penalties. For most drivers don't have any penalties. Well, what is there to say? Of course, loads of safety cars. After another crash between Thomas and Barry. Barry is on the intermediate at this point. 12 seconds behind Phil, but he will be able to make that gap considering it's a safety car. Jamil now still not in the pits. I mean, what is he trying? He's got no front wing and he's on the wrong compound of tyres. He's a danger to every single driver out there. It will be a sprint race, really. It will be a sprint race to the finish line. Ooh, but there's also still someone who's not on the intermediate compound of tires and is clearly struggling, and this is not helping Sam as he can't overtake him, but they will catch up in time. Safety car in this lap, we go racing once again. You can see the safety car right there. What's Felix gonna do with the safety car restart? Is he gonna wait it out or is he gonna go as soon as possible? He's not going, not just yet. Marco finds himself all the way up in P5. I mean, what a topsy-turvy race he has had. And I'm sure Felix will do the restart, coming out of this corner, coming out of the chicane, and we go racing once again for the 4th time. And Luke holds off the good guy, but can't attack Felix coming into turn 1 there. Tim will be wanting to maximize the points he can take to Steve. Forbes in P6 still holds his position. Loads of different driver changes or position changes going on down the grid in the midfield there. Jamil struggling for grip. He's gonna crash out at this point if he doesn't go onto intermediate tires as soon as possible. I reckon he's not gonna be able to hold this much for much longer there. He's got an open wing and he's on the wrong compounded tire. Meanwhile, Raster's onto the intermediate tires as well. Phil finds himself all the way down in P10, and there's contact between Barry and Phil. And Felix is already pulling has already pulled a 1 second gap towards Luke. The good guys very much under pressure from Tim, who can make up nearly the whole lead Steve has had. He can make up by just making this move, but he's really slow compared to his pace, and he does go past this time. And the good guy is going to be under attack from the McLaren of Forbes there, and the Ferrari of Marco as they make contact, but Forbes is up to P4, and so is Marco up to P5 there. The good guy is getting mucked up at this point. Maybe not so much of an Aston Senna rain master. Man who had all the predictions in his favour finds himself all the way down in P8. Top 5 finish is still on the cards though. Barry nearly loses it coming into Blanchimont. He's looking to put pressure on the Mercedes driver there, and more contact between Phil and Tim there. And Tim has a 10-second time penalty for cutting the corner. What's that for? What did he do to earn himself a 10-second time penalty? The track's drying up again. Guys, the track's drying up. The track is drying up. More madness into this Spa Grand Prix as loads of drivers go opting for some new strategy calls there, and Jamil does find himself out of these guys again, but his tires are gonna have no grip in them anymore, and he's gonna have throttling damage as well. The only thing that could save him now is another safety car, but I don't think there's gonna be another safety car. The man with the best strategic call since who knows has to do it again. Phil now is finally dispatched of VZR Barry and finds himself 2 seconds behind the FIFA. Now that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting. 4 laps to go, and I think these guys might just make up enough time to even get past them. I think they just might. Surely most of them have to come in this lap. The track gets completely dry again. I mean, you love to see Spa, really, with the changing conditions and the very long circuit. It really does spice up this race. And Felix into the pits. 16 seconds is the gap. Just about 18 seconds is the gap towards Duffy for their sorry correction. Oh, they gotta be coming out ahead of this pack again. DRS enabled. Track still must be a little bit damp there as they come into the pits. They have come into the pits, and Felix is being held there. And are they gonna get past? It's gonna be so close on the line. It really is gonna be very close. Phil moves up to P3. Is he gonna be coming out of Felix? No, he's not gonna be coming out ahead of the top 5 there. I think maximum precision gain is for Darfifa, moving out to P3 there. Phil will be looking to get past Forbes as Forbes will be looking to get past Darfifa again. Felix still holds his lead. Just about, only 2 seconds though. And it's free ride coming into that corner. That's gonna go wrong, is it? No, it's not. They keep it clean, even though there's a little bit of archie-barchie there between FIFA and Luke. Phil still holds behind patiently, and we have Barry off circuit again there. And Phil goes past Luke. Or is he? Yes, he has gone past Luke, and his next target is FIFA for the podium position. And P2 is on the cards for FIFA and Phil, where I think no one's going to be able to catch Felix at this point. FIFA defending from Phil again. Phil going for the switchback as he always does. Phil on FIFA into turn 1. Can he pull it off? No, I think he's too far behind. Aye! That's the Marco Popper going for an optimistic dive bomb there, and that's immediately lost Phil some time there. Very unlucky for him, and he has to be careful he doesn't get overtaken by Luke, as he was just setting up a move on FIFA. He got hit from behind by Marco, and he's gonna get overtaken here by Luke, is he? No, he just about holds the position, but it has equaled things out for the fight for P3. Forbes might just keep his P2 at this rate. Only 2 laps to go, and these guys are keep staying put with each other as they have some good battling going on. FIFA, a little bit of help there by Marco as Marco went for an optimistic dive bomb into turn 1. Man, this race is everything. Safety car, racing, weather conditions changing. Sorry. I think the top 2 is going to stay put as they are. On the other flag there, who's that for this time? Oh, it's Baxter, who's truly and wellly out of contention for the points. Tim, what about Tim? Oh, Phil has got himself up to P2, P3 there. And can he catch up to the pack that is Felix and Phil there? Or Felix and Forbes there, sorry, and Luke looks to do the same thing Phil did, but he can't do so as he's got to be under attack from the Toro Rosso driver of Good Guy, and another crash up to Rouge, as none of them yield this time. He's out of the race, and he covers his eyes as he won't want to see that again. Another retirement for Luke, another disappointing day, and this time it won't even be a podium for him. Meanwhile, Tim moved up to P9 at this point. He'll be gaining 2 points on championship leader Steve. I must say, Forbes is making some good. I think he might just run short of laps here. FIFA has found himself 1.4 behind, 1.1 behind, 1.1 seconds behind Phil. Marco with front-wing damage. Can he gain something on Tim here? But it's doing donuts at this point as this race is completely ruined. Oh, look at that. The good SR compassion on Marco, aka Popper, for the last point. We've seen quite a few optimistic moves coming up to Rouge, and quite a few ending in tears as well. But this time it's going all good, as SR Compassion will be looking to score his first point of his VRL career. And FIFA Milan is overtaken for P4, and the good guy gets that position. At this rate it's not going to be team, but Marai making some good points up to Steve here. What an incredible race, and it's the last lap of this incredible race, and Felix has been leading comfortably as he made two very good strategy calls. He got a little bit tight with the last one, but it will do the job as he will get P1 here in this race unless he does something crazy coming up to the last couple of corners. I don't think he will do so, and I think it's going to be Felix on the top step of the podium, leading from Forbas and Phil. Felix, Renault driver, coming home for a second win, and look how dry it is, look how sunny it is. And it's gonna be sunshine for the yellow Renault car. Felix gets the fastest lap as well on the last lap, and Forbas is gonna get P2 here. And it's gonna be Phil coming home for a decent P3, 7/10 behind Forbas on penalties. Livid Racing Sam goes up to P5, and where do we have Marine Olibor? All the way down to P11. And what happened on the last lap with him? And we have struggling Jamil, who made some interesting strategy calls, not really with a positive effect though. As we have to wait on him for a long time, and look at this incredible shot as the race has finished. Really a very, very nice shot. As we wait on Jamil to come across the line to become the last finisher of this race. Man, what a race, and it sure will be an interesting podium interview. And we see Felix on the top step of the podium for the second time this year, and for the third time. For the second time in his career, and the second time this season. As we also give a massive shout out and a thanks to F1 Neutral, as he's been a partner since season 2. And he will sign off. Thank you for everything, and now we'll get to the post-race interviews with these three gentlemen who will be very happy with their races, even though for Phil and Forbes it was a topsy-turvy race. But a good strategy call and some good racing moved them up to the podium places. And I'll just send a quick invite to the podium drivers. Phil Lib Smith coming home in P2, and then Forbes as well. We wait on those drivers. Quite a few incidents, of course. Could be a busy day for the stewards. Felix joins us. Welcome, congratulations Felix on your second VRL race win and the second one this season.
Thank you.
We still wait on Forbes. I'm not sure if he will be joining us. Yeah, of course you were winning the race, but with some very clever strategy calls. You first pitted on the first safety car, I believe, and then, of course, very good choice to go on to intermediates. Can you talk us through your race a little bit?
Uh, yeah, well, start was good, maintained P2. Then the first safety car came. I knew from my practice that I had to go to hards. I could make it to the end, so I went on hards. Then lap 6 again, a safety car. Didn't go into the pits that lap, I think.
No.
Then just before rain was going to hit, I thought, let's just go for it and go into the inters. Was so much faster than everyone else, and yeah, and then I think yeah, the fourth safety car came out, which was like, it could have ended my race, like my first place, but I managed to hold the position.
Yes, you did, and you was able to get up to P1. Of course, we have P3 on the podium. Phil, congratulations, your first podium in quite a few races.
Yeah, cheers, mate. My voice is basically gone, so.
Yeah, I heard that before, but of course you had a very topsy-turvy race. I mean, a bit of a roller coaster, really. You were last at some point with front wing damage. Can you talk us through your race?
Oh, at no point in that race I gave up, because, I mean, turn 1, I got hit, and I got wing damage. Yeah, and I had to pit. And then the next safety car very spun, and I had nowhere to go, and I hit into him again. I got damage, but I just kept pitting and making the right calls on what to stay on. And then at the end, I undercut a few cars, and I had the pace to catch fourths. But if I had another lap, then I would have been able to get in the 3 seconds. But
yeah,
got his third, so I'm happy.
Yeah, of course you were hit by Marco. While you attempted to go on the FIFA, that might have cost you quite a few tenths, but P3 it is, and a very solid choice by you as well. It doesn't look like Fullbass will be joining us. Nice voice crack, by the way. I want to thank you for watching. It's been a very hectic race, with safety cars and rain really being the main factor in this race. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in about 2 weeks' time. Bye bye.